Welcome back to the Podcasting Problem Solver. I'm Leah Bryant, your go-to podcast growth strategist, and I'm here to help you stop treating your podcast like a hobby and start using it as the strategic lead gen tool it should be. Quick question for you, and I want you to really sit with this for a second. Do you really know if your podcast is working for your business? Like, not I got a DM last week working. I mean, can you point to a specific episode and say, that one brought in a client? Can you look at your data and tell me which topic or keyword made someone book a call, book an offer, etc.? So if you just went, I'm not sure, Leah. Well, you're in good company because most podcasters can't answer that. And it's not because they're not paying attention, but it's because nobody actually taught them what to pay attention to. And today, that changes, my friend. By the end of this episode, you're going to have a simple, practical system for tracking whether your podcast is converting so you can stop guessing and start making decisions based on real evidence. So here's what I see. A podcaster is working hard. You know the drill, publishing consistently, promoting those episodes, and checking their stats. And the number that they're checking? Downloads. And downloads are the first thing that people always look at. And I get it. It's the most visible number on that beautiful dashboard that you log into to see. But the thing to remember is that downloads only tell you really how many people press play or requested something from your RSS feed, right? They don't tell you how many people did anything after that. Think about it like baking a cake. Downloads are just the flour. Flour is essential, yes, but flour sitting on the counter isn't a cake. You need to know what happened after the flour. Did the other ingredients just show up? Did it actually go in the oven? Did someone eat it and then ask for seconds? Your podcast is producing those quote unquote seconds moments. Episodes that make someone think, okay, I need to work with her or him. You're just not tracking which ones they are yet. So let's talk about what you should be tracking instead, okay? I call these your conversion clues, and there are 4 of them. The first one is your listener action rate. This is how many people who listen do something after. So that's like click a link, visit your website, fill out a form, those kinds of things. And most podcast hosts will give you some version of this through their website analytics or your link tracking. The question that you're asking should be like, are listeners moving or are they just listening? Number 2 is your call to action performance by episode. So every episode should have at least one call to action. And every single one of those call to actions should be trackable. That means unique links, UTM parameters, if you are using Google Analytics or something as simple as a custom URL slug for your website. When someone uses that link, you know exactly which episode sent them, okay? If you don't have different links per episode right now, that's okay. You can start today. And this is one of those fixes that takes like 15 minutes and pays off for months to come. All right, number 3 is episode to inquiry trail. So when someone books a call, fills out a contact form, or buys something from you, do you ask how they found you? More specifically, do you ask whether they listened to a podcast episode? And if so, which one? This can be a single field on your intake form, on a questionnaire, anything that you have that correlates with that action, like how did you find me, with a blank space for them to fill in. You'd be amazed at how many times clients come to me booking a call, buying an audit, that they can name the exact episode that made them decide to reach out. Number 4, your consumption rate. So most podcast platforms show you your average consumption rate. The best places like Apple and Spotify, okay? So what percentage of an episode people finish? This one matters because a high download number with low consumption often means your audience isn't really connecting with your content, right? But if you have a higher downloaded episode with like an 80% consumption, well, that's an episode that's definitely resonating with your audience and one that you would want to understand and replicate. And if you're thinking, oh gosh, I want someone to walk me through all of this, not just hand me a checklist. Well, I want to tell you about something that's coming. My Positioned and Found is a 10-week group coaching program. I am so excited. I am opening a beta cohort soon. We are going to go deep on strategy and attraction, which is the two phases that podcasters struggle with the most of my Seamless Podcast Framework. Getting your podcast found by the right people, and then making sure that the strategy is set up correctly and converting them once they do arrive at your podcast. Because it's all about tracking, right? We're tracking it. So is your SEO and your positioning, plus your call to actions. All of it is part of those two phases. If this sounds like something that your show needs right now, get on the wait list. The link is in the description and in the show notes. Beta spots will be limited to 10. 10 people because I want this to be small and intimate. We really want it to be collaborative. It's going to be amazing. And then also the waitlist folks are going to get first dibs. So now let me tell you about Diana. So she is a business coach, has a solid podcast. When she came to me, she was podcasting for about 2.5 years, and she had pretty decent downloads and a growing audience. Like it never had declined or plateaued. It was continually growing, but she didn't have any clients that she could directly trace back to the show. She figured that maybe the podcast was working, but she wasn't sure. So when I audited her podcast, the first thing I looked at was her call to action strategy. Every episode kind of like ended the same way. Okay, it was, if you want to work with me, head to my website. There was no unique link or tracking, and her website homepage was a destination for everything. Not that that was bad, but it could always be better, right? So because her destination was her homepage and it was for everything, we had no idea which episodes was really driving the traffic. We just knew that the traffic was coming, and that's all we knew. So we made one change. We created episode-specific landing pages. Nothing fancy, just simple pages with a single offer. And she started linking to them in her show notes and verbal call to actions, right? And within 60 days, she could tell me that 3 episodes were responsible for the majority of her inquiry traffic, which is amazing because one of them was a 20-minute solo episode. She almost didn't publish because she thought it was quote unquote too basic. Well, that too basic episode became her most repurposed and promoted piece of content over the next 6 months because now she had evidence that she could follow. And that's what tracking gives you. It's the difference between hoping your podcast is working and knowing it does. Okay, so you might be asking, well, Leah, this is all grand, but how do I build this? All right, well, I am going to keep this simple because simple is something I know you will use. Are you ready? Okay, step number 1. I want you to audit your current call to actions. I don't want you to go back through your 300 episode library. No, I want you to go back through your last 10. What did you ask people to do? Was it the same call to action in one episode? We don't want 14 call to actions in one episode. Please don't. Were your links trackable? All of this is going to give you a baseline, okay? Number 2, create unique destination links for your top offers. So I want you to pick 2 or 3 main call to actions. Could be a freebie, a discovery call, whatever you're selling, giving away. And then I want you to create a unique link for each episode going forward. You can do this with a URL shortener, a redirect plugin, or UTM parameter, whatever you want to do. Pick whichever you're going to use, maintain, but pick it, keep at it, and use it. Number 3, add one question to your intake form. How did you hear about me? And then specifically, like if it gives you like another little line you can add, was it through the podcast? Do you remember which episode? You can make it optional, of course. The people who found you through an episode will almost always tell you or want to tell you. That has been my experience. Number 4 is to review monthly. So once a month, I want you to look at your clues, okay? So which episodes are driving your clicks? Which ones are leading to the inquiries? Which ones had the highest consumption rates? You're looking for the patterns. No perfection here, friends. That's not what we're striving for. Over time, your patterns will tell you everything you need to know about what your audience is responding to. Now, let me connect this back to the Seamless Podcast Framework, because this all squarely sits in the momentum phase. Momentum is where your strategy is going to compound. It's where the work you've already done starts to pay dividends because you're making smarter decisions based on real information rather than hunches. Most podcasters are stuck in constant execution. They keep publishing and showing up and keep going, but they're never stepping back to evaluate really what's working. But the execution phase only becomes sustainable when it's informed by data. And that's what moves you from the hustle to the momentum, from the quote unquote, I hope this works, to the quote unquote, I know what works and I'm doing more of it. Tracking your conversions is how you close the loop on your seamless system. Yes, strategy informs your content while execution gets it out into the world. The attraction gets you found, and the momentum, well, that's what happens when you know which of those pieces are landing and you double down on them. And listen, if you've been nodding along to this episode thinking, oh my gosh, my podcast is not set up for any of this yet, that's okay. That's exactly what Positioned and Found is built for. It's a 10-week group coaching program where we will work through the strategy and attraction phase of my Seamless Podcast Framework together. We're talking positioning, discoverability, SEO, call to actions, and yes, building the kind of tracking system we talked about today so that you know exactly what's working. The beta cohort is forming now. Waitlist spots are going. You don't want to wait. I'm only accepting 10 people. And it's the only way to get the first access and beta pricing. Link is in the show notes. Grab your spot. So here's your takeaway for today. Downloads are just the surface. The real story is in the trail, which is the clicks, the inquiries, and the consumption rates. The episodes that make someone pick up the phone or buy your product. Your podcast is already producing that evidence for you. Your job now is to start reading it. So if you build a simple system and add your tracking links with the intake form with questions, but then also review it monthly, that's it. That's all you have to do. Next week, we're going to go one layer deeper, because once you can track it, the next question is whether your show is really structured to convert in the first place. We're going to look at the fundamentals. Is your podcast set up to do its job? And you don't want to miss it. So if today's episode was useful, make sure you share it with a podcaster friend who's been wondering if their show is working. And if you haven't hit that follow button yet, make sure you do it so that you don't miss what's coming. And remember, keep your podcast purposeful, keep your podcast strategic, and above all else, keep your growth seamless, and I'll see you next time.